Ever feel like you're stuck in a smoky barbecue gone wrong? The smog's getting thicker, turning our skies into a murky mess. As the economy booms, so does the smog. Factories churning out smoke like they're in a competition. Who needs sunlight anyway, right? But wait, just when things look bleak, in comes the hero, wind turbines. Watch as they blow away the gloom, bringing back the blue skies. Welcome to ETC Vibes. Ready to see how we turn dirty air into fresh, clean energy? Let's get started. And here's the shocking part. Today, 98% of Uruguay's electricity comes from renewable sources. How did they pull off such a green miracle? Let's dive in and find out. In 2007, Uruguay's booming economy led to frequent blackouts and high electricity bills. Rising fossil fuel prices and increasing energy demand forced the country to reconsider its energy strategy. Importing oil exposed Uruguay to volatile global markets, straining the economy with soaring prices. Uruguay needed a fresh approach. Enter Ramon Mendez-Galain, a physicist fascinated by the Big Bang Theory. Yes, this is the guy we need for our energy revolution. For simplicity, we'll call him Ramon for the rest of this video. Ramon had a big idea and an even bigger plan. He had already written about transforming the country's energy sector by switching to renewable energy. Then came the unexpected call. The president of Uruguay, yes, the president himself, had seen Ramon's detailed plan for transforming the country's energy sector. Impressed by the vision, he knew this was the solution. He picked up the phone and called Ramon. "We need you to save our energy crisis," he said. Imagine calling up a physicist and asking, "Hey, fix our country's energy problems." And just like that, Ramon was appointed as Uruguay's National Director of Energy, his mission to turn his grand plan into reality. Ramon set a bold objective. We want to power our country using 50% renewable energy by 2035. But there were significant challenges. Let's explore the options he considered for powering the electric grid. Option 1. Natural gas. Uruguay and Argentina had built a fancy new pipeline, but it turned out to be a bust. Argentina didn't export much natural gas to Uruguay, leaving strong infrastructure with no capability of using it. Option 2. Import liquefied natural gas. This would require building a new plant to convert LNG, costing more than $1 billion. Option 3. Coal. Coal's cheap, right? But Uruguay doesn't have coal, natural gas or oil. All of it would need to be imported, plus building coal-fired power plants and expanding ports would be necessary. Ramon also considered nuclear. While not entirely out on nuclear, the costs were high, and the country would need to import uranium. Uruguay did have hydropower, supplying about a quarter of its energy, but large rivers were already utilised and droughts dried them up. Of course, Ramon considered solar, but in 2007, solar was way more expensive than it is now. So, Ramon and his team were on a mission. They looked at all sorts of energy options: natural gas pipelines, LNG plants, coal, nuclear, and even hydroelectric dams. But every option had its own hurdles. High costs, environmental issues, you name it. Then it hit them. Why not use the one thing Uruguay has plenty of? Wind. Uruguay's got some strong winds, especially on those high hills. But it's not just the wind, the country's wide open spaces make it perfect for wind energy. Most of Uruguay is agricultural land, sparsely populated. There's an interesting statistic here. There are 4 cows for every person in Uruguay, which means lots of open space and, well, plenty of cow poop. Seeing all this, Ramon had a light bulb moment. He pictured wind turbines spread across the uninhabited lands, on hills, pastures, basically everywhere the wind blows. This was his big idea to solve Uruguay's energy puzzle. Sure, they had to import the turbines at first, but once they were set up, Uruguay could rely on its own wind. No more imports needed. This was Ramon's vision coming to life. Ramon went all in on wind energy, but here's the twist. He wasn't a wind expert. He was a particle physicist. And here's the kicker. Ramon Mendes, Galan, looked to neighbourhood Brazil for inspiration. But setting up an entire wind energy system wasn't cheap. It would cost over $6 billion. That's a massive chunk of Uruguay's $50 billion economy. To make things tougher, Ramon's budget was just $10 million. The finance minister was clear no extra funding from the government. Then came what? Ramon's eureka moment. He decided to invite global companies to cover Uruguay with wind turbines. These companies would handle the setup and costs, while Uruguay agreed to buy the energy they produced. To attract these companies, the government guaranteed to buy all the energy produced at a fixed rate. This ensured that companies would get a stable price for 20 years, making their investments safe and profitable. Over the next few months, Ramon worked tirelessly to convince lawmakers. He gained so much support that laws were even changed for him, including one about who owned the wind. The wind, a public good, now officially belonged to the Uruguayan people, even if it blew over private land. This meant wind companies had the right to capture it, ensuring the project's success. If your property was selected for turbines, you'd receive compensation, but the turbines would go up whether you wanted them or not. This ensured that nothing stood in the way of Uruguay's wind energy revolution. So, Ramon and his team were go up whether you wanted them or not. This ensured that nothing stood in the way of Uruguay's wind energy revolution. The companies covered the costs and handled the logistics of bringing in the turbines. Once they were set up, Uruguay could harness its own wind, no more imports needed. This was Ramon's vision coming to life. In 2009, Uruguay shook things up by holding auctions. Global wind companies bid to bring renewable energy to the country, aiming to add 150 megawatts of new wind power, about 5% of Uruguay's energy needs. Ramon had a genius twist. Let non-winning companies match the lowest bid to get a contract. Over 80% jumped on board, boosting Uruguay's capacity by more than 40%. Talk about exceeding expectations. In a few short years, Uruguay wasn't just meeting its energy needs, it was exporting power to its neighbours. Energy costs dropped over 40%, and today, 700 plus wind turbines are keeping the lights on. Today, 98% of Uruguay's energy comes from renewables: wind, hydro, biomass and solar. The grid is practically emission-free, marking a total transformation. Ramon became a rock star. He made it to Fortune magazine's World's 50 Greatest Leaders list and spoke at conferences worldwide. His impact was undeniable. Drive through Uruguay and you'll see endless rows of turbines harnessing wind power. What you won't see are gas tankers, coal trains or smokestacks. Wind power has transformed the landscape. The renewable shift didn't just help the environment, it boosted the economy, slashed energy costs and improved quality of life. Energy costs fell over 40% and 98% of the power grid now runs on renewables. Ramon's work made him a national hero and a global icon. He graced the pages of Fortune's World's 50 Greatest Leaders and was invited to speak at international events. His vision redefined Uruguay's energy landscape. Today, Uruguay's landscape is dotted with wind turbines stretching to the horizon. You won't find gas tankers, coal trains or smoke-belching power plants. Clean energy has redefined the nation. But new challenges have emerged. Wind turbine blades are tough to recycle, posing environmental issues. Uruguay must tackle this to keep its green legacy intact. The future is bright with innovation. Uruguay is pioneering solutions to make renewable energy even more sustainable. From advanced recycling to novel clean energy sources, the journey continues. This story shows the power of vision and determination. But what happens to wind turbine blades after their lifespan? How do we recycle them sustainably? The challenge of wind turbine blade recycling is an emerging issue. As we explore the future of sustainable energy, we'll uncover new challenges and innovative solutions. Don't miss out on the exciting journeys ahead. Subscribe and stay tuned for more stories on transforming our world.